I wonder if you can clarify this claim that 3 other hostages died in the operation to rescue the 4 that took place, and one of those 3 has a US passport.
No, of course not. This is just another part of Hamas's propaganda war, their attempt to try and create concern within Israel. They failed miserably when they attacked and infiltrated into Israel on the 7th of October, and they've been failing miserably ever since. Our officers, our forces operated yesterday in Nuseirat to bring home safely 4 hostages that were being held by Hamas in civilian homes, putting them within the civilian arena. And so, yes, absolutely, when we are listening to what Hamas is saying, I would say, let's take it with a pinch of salt with everything they say. These are people that came into our bedrooms, abducted people, abducted Noor Argamani from a music festival. Why should we believe anything they say?
So you're saying that it's incorrect then, that is simply propaganda, that 3 other hostages died in the raid? Categorically, you're saying that's wrong?
Categorically, I would say it is the propaganda effort of Hamas. They've been trying to exert emotional pressure on Israel since day one. From our perspective, our goal is to bring home the hostages safe and sound. The operation is designed and crafted. This entire war effort is designed and crafted to bring home the hostages safe and sound, as we did yesterday. And this is the challenge of this war. We would not be at war if it was not for Hamas's invasion of Israel on the 7th of October last year. And we could be over today if they released the hostages and unconditionally surrendered.
If it is confirmed, though, saving hostages only to see others killed is not a good outcome, is it?
Hypothetical questions are not the business that I'm into. I work in what we're doing on the ground. That is my responsibility. And I can say our goal, and that is precisely what we're doing, as we brought to the knowledge yesterday of the successful rescue mission. Of course, the whole idea of conducting such a mission based on intelligence with 360-degree threats, and we need to take into consideration that, of course, it could have been called off at the very last minute if the conditions wouldn't have been as optimal as they could have been.
I mean, you say that, that's understood. That you say conditions needed to be at the best that they could be for this raid to be carried out, but it still came at a huge cost, didn't it, in terms of the number of civilians who were killed? The Palestinians are saying 274. That's from the health ministry run by Hamas, of course. Yesterday, one of your colleagues said fewer than 100 casualties in that raid. Where are you putting the number today?
Jonathan, every civilian life in this war that has been lost, Israeli and Palestinian, is an immense tragedy. It's a tragedy for the societies, it's a tragedy for the communities, and they are all on the shoulders of Hamas. There would be no need for a special forces operation in the heart of Nuseirat in civilian buildings.
No, we understand, we know that, and we understand it, and it's something you've said many times on Sky News. But where are you putting the number in terms of civilians who were killed? Is it closer to 100, as your colleague said yesterday, or is it closer to 274 that Hamas is saying?
We can't trust what Hamas is saying, and frankly, I would say that everything they are doing and the numbers that they are putting out have really no factual basis. The reality on the ground is, and as I would say, that Hamas don't know how many people were killed. We don't know how many people were killed.
Do you have a rough percentage of how many were militants and how many were civilians? I mean, your troops were on the ground, your troops were carrying out this daring raid. They must have an idea of how many were militants and how many were women and children, for example.
I can say that our forces on the extraction of the hostages came under immense fire from all directions. RPGs, semi-machine guns, AK-47s, all from in and around the alleyways, from the market itself, from all around, as Hamas tried to murder the hostages as they were being rescued, and the soldiers that were doing the rescue operation. So, of course, there was a response to those terrorists, towards those terrorists that were operating from within and in and around the civilian arena. So of
Highly
course
complex. Yeah, we
and-
understand it. Highly complex operation. There have been some reports out today that an aid truck was used by Israel in the raid, and also a vehicle carrying 3 of the hostages after they'd been rescued got stuck and had to be abandoned. What can you tell us about those details?
So as the operation is developing, of course, there are different challenges that take place in the battlefield and unexpected things that we need to be prepared for. Indeed, on the extraction, one of the vehicles did break down, and it required the forces to go in and extract them under fire, again, immensely under fire, and possibly putting the forces and the hostages, the 3 hostages, Almog, Andrei, and Shlomi, that were in that vehicle in risk. Our role was to evacuate them. That was a successful evacuation. I won't, and I can't say that. I can say for sure that we do not use the humanitarian mission to conduct our operations. That's not something we do.
Okay, and just finally, it's been many months now, this war, and many months that independent journalists haven't been allowed into Gaza to witness what's been going on. Why is that, and is it going to change?
So I don't know currently. The situation is one where, as we see, it is a war zone, an extensive war zone. And the Foreign Press Association took the government of Israel to court over it. And the court decided with Israel that Israel is under no obligation to give access through Israel into the Gaza Strip. It is a challenging idea. And of course,
because we've got war correspondents who would love to go in and witness what is happening from your side, from Hamas's side as well. Why can't they go in? They're willing to go. They're ready to go.
Yeah, that's something we hear. That is an individual responsibility, but we have a much broader responsibility, and that is what the court actually weighed upon, is the much broader responsibility of the lives that could be taken. I would say yes, there is a need for a free press in Gaza. There is no free press in Gaza. Everything is manipulated by Hamas, how they are bringing things out. But I would also say that there is not a lack of reporting from within Gaza. There is an abundance of information, of news coverage, and I would argue that it is probably the most reported story in the last 8 months around the world.